Welcome, y'all, neighborhood Hebrews, to the neighborhood for pulling on up, my locals, the residents. I need y'all to like, subscribe, follow, share my channel, the platform, everything that I got going on over here. I appreciate you for sliding on through and passing along and doing what you do. We got scripture Sundays at night. That's right. Topic is, who are the mixed multitude that came out of Egypt? That'll be this coming Sunday night. Y'all make sure y'all tap in because we in the midst of tabernacles. But this is just a side class. Get you on the move. We got Zoom Bible reading, the Zoom Bible study on Friday and Saturday nights at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to read, it's hosted by my brother LiQWYD. Check us out. Check out his platform. Go like, follow, subscribe to his channel. Make sure you tap on in with us to get that link so you can join the Bible study. If y'all ever want to fellowship and tap in with me, I'm in Northern California. You can tap in with me on Mondays. This coming Monday will be the closing of the Feast of Tabernacles. So if you want to close it on out with me, let me know so I can set up something so we can link up together. Y'all should already know by now that we put stuff on together, me and my brother out here in Stockton. Make sure y'all come help us because we need you to come put your hands to the plow so we can make things happen for our people that's out here that are in need. If anything in these ministries do anything for your spirit, let the Most High hear it. If you feel moved to, go ahead and throw some alms, donations, anything like that over to the Cash Apps, $ Spoken Law, proceed to Rosh Barak Yah. That's me for this ministry at the Neighborhood Hebrews. Or you can tap in with my brother, LiQWYD. His Cash App is Mark Norman Jr. over there for the 242 Ministries. I do graphics for $50 per design with unlimited revisions. The more designs that you add, it's just $20 more. So I give good deals and I got a fast turnaround time so you can get what you need more than likely within the same day, or for sure within the week. We're going to get you all squared away. Y'all see what I'm rocking? 10 Commandment necklaces. Check them out. You can get 1 for 10, 2 for 15 for the single-sided. Or if you want the double-sided, you can get that 1 for 20 or 2 for 30. I pledge allegiance to the Bible of the house of Yasharal, for which it stands, one nation, under Yahweh. I will make it a lamp unto my feet and a light to my path. I will hide your word in my heart that I may not sin against it. For in your word is freedom and redemption to the house of Yasharal. Yahweh, in the name of Yahusha, I pray and rebuke every spiritual curse that has come upon me and my household, whether visible, hidden, or generational. Let every chain be broken today, and let evil have no right to enter. Yahweh, I declare that our spouses, our children, and our families are covered by the blood of Yahusha. Build a spiritual wall of protection around us so that no curse, attack, or strife can enter our homes. In Yahusha's name, allow Yahweh, allow Yahweh, allow Yahweh.
The only marriage is marriage. We stand before God and get married, and God honors. And not only that, you can't even say, well, we got married on our own, because God says to honor the authorities of the land. So that means you need to go before a world judge, a man, even a non-Christian judge, and get married. Oh, you're not considered married in God's eyes. Because some people say, well, I don't need to go to the court because we got married our own. That's not scriptural. God says in his word to obey the laws of the land and the authorities. And the laws of the land is that you, in order to be considered married, you have to go get a marriage certificate.
So we just checked out Sister Karima. I still support her. I still send everybody to her page to go check out the wife school because I still think what she's doing, the Most High put on her, is right, because we don't have schools in place, systems in place to help the women learn how to be wives before they become a wife. Same thing for the men. And I'm trying to do my part and help the men, as I'm also putting together a series for the men to go from boys to men to husbands, as I myself am going through these things as well. But what she's saying is something that is very destructive, and it's following the ways of the heathen, the teachings of the heathen, because the heathen say in order for you to be a pastor that you need to go through their schooling, and that way you get ordained. But the Most High says he selects his pastors. So you see, these are contradictions. So she's also telling you your marriage isn't a marriage unless you go get a certification, even if it's not under a believer. Just go to the government to get your certificate. Go to the state to get your certificate. That's the only way that it's recognized by the Most High. But the Most High never says that. There's not one marriage that you can go to in the scriptures that was sanctioned as okay by the state, government, or captivity that we were in. So the problem is we continuously follow after the heathen as to what they say is okay for us to do. But we're not supposed to put the laws of the land above the laws in the scriptural word of the Most High Yahweh. We're not supposed to do that. Let's talk about these things and let's go through the class. Let's go through the sections to really understand how marriage is supposed to be scriptural, not carnal or fleshly, and that we're supposed to be under a covenant, not under a contract. So in session 1, we're going to cover and look at marriage and daily living. Are we governed by the Most High and His word, and then the laws of the land that apply? Or the laws of the land do we follow first, and then the laws of the Most High? What she is proposing is that in order for you to do something that was ordained by the Most High, you need to go to the state or government or man in order for that to be rectified. And this is the problem. So we're going to go through it real quick. So the first thing we're going to break down is Romans 13 and marriage. Part 1, the misunderstanding of Romans chapter 13. Romans chapter 13 verses 1 and 2.
Chapter 13. Duties toward state authorities. Everyone must obey state authorities, because no authority exists without God's permission, and the existing authorities have been put there by God. Whoever opposes the existing authority opposes what God has ordered, and anyone who does so will bring judgment on himself.
Everyone must obey the authorities. So we understand that. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Now the context is civil order, taxes, and basic peace. When you jump down to verses 6 and 7.
That is also why you pay taxes, because the authorities are working for God when they fulfill their duties. Pay them what you owe them. Pay them your personal and property taxes, and show respect and honor for them all.
So Paul, he is talking about not resisting rulers in matters of law and order, not spiritual covenants like marriage. Because again, he's speaking of taxes, civil order, and basic peace. Marriage is what? It's a covenant before the Most High that the Most High instituted. Not a contract of Rome, Greece, any of these captivities, or even America, where you live at. Let's go over to the next part. There is no biblical example of government marriage, as I stated before. Go ahead and try to search the scriptures. Search them all you want. There is no example of man and woman going to the state, government, or captivity for marriage. But instead, what do you see? Let's look at the father's role in Genesis chapter 24, verses 50, 51, and then 57 to 60.
Laban and Bethuel answered, "Since this matter comes from the Lord, it is not for us to make a decision. Here is Rebekah. Take her and go. Let her become the wife of your master's son, as the Lord himself has said." They answered, "Let's call her and find out what she has to say." So they called Rebekah and asked, "Do you want to go with this man?" "Yes," she answered. So they let Rebekah and her old family servant go with Abraham's servant and his men. And they gave Rebekah their blessing in these words, "May you, sister, become the mother of millions. May your descendants conquer the cities of their enemies."
So when y'all look at that, that's talking about Rebekah's marriage. Laban, he's the one that's giving his daughter away. So the father's role is very important. Now, did you see any government in there, or was that just a family dealing with the matter of marriage? Was the state there? Were any guards there to monitor this? Any legislators? No, nothing. Now let's look at the vows and covenant in Malachi 2 and 14.
You ask why he no longer accepts them. It is because he knows you have broken your promise to the wife you married when you were young. She was your partner, and you have broken your promise to her, although you promised before God that you would be faithful to her.
This is speaking of the Most High Yah is a witness. He witnesses marriage covenant. He doesn't mention anything about the government that the sister was speaking about, that religion speaks about, that the heathen push you to believe in, because this is the system that where they want to have their hands in on everything. They want you to remove the Most High and have the contract with them. That's the issue. The joining of man and woman in the beginning, the one flesh. Genesis chapter 2, verses 22 to 24.
He formed a woman out of the rib and brought her to him. Then the man said, At last, here is one of my own kind, bone taken from my bone, and flesh from my flesh. Woman is her name, because she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united with his wife, and they become one.
This is one flesh. Where was the court system? Where was the government? Because the Most High is the one that governs. He's the one that's setting the stage. Now let's go over into the Apocrypha to see a direct example of what I'm talking about between the father, the man, family, the giving away of the daughter and she becoming a wife as marriage. In Tobit chapter 7, verses 13 and 14.
Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father, and he took her by the hand and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, Behold, take her after the law of Moses, and lead her away to thy father. And he blessed them, and called Edna his wife, and took paper, and did write an instrument of covenants, and sealed it.
Now Raguel, which is the father, he wrote a what? A covenant and sealed it. And what was that covenant? It was between the son, Tobias, and Raguel for the daughter. That's what it was for. There was no court. There was no certification. The certification comes from the father. That's why we're tricked by the court system. We're tricked by all these pagan ideas of how they want you to do it, is because it has a sprinkle of truth in it. So when you get married, even through the court system and all that, they still say what? Who gives away this daughter to be a bride? What's the father? Because it's always been about the father giving his protection and responsibility over to another man to protect and be responsible for his daughter. But all this other shit that we talking about, this is how it's supposed to be, and you got to go do this and do that. None of this is Bible. Marriage was recognized by family, not state. This is what you don't understand. This is what we're lacking on. And again, I support that sister's school and what she's doing because it's helping us out. But that information that she's putting out there is absolutely false and it's not biblical. I'm going through the scriptures to show you why it's not biblical. Let's move along. The Most High's pattern of marriage. A man, woman, and woman's father or family, meaning an uncle, a brother, a cousin. That's the authority structure because the father has to give away his daughter. That's where the covenant is. Those are the witnesses. Just like when you go to the court system, the court is taking the place of the father and of the Most High. Notice that the father doesn't have to sign anything on that covenant. So today, that's what we think. The father even removes himself nowadays. The vows before the Most High Yahweh. It's the covenant sealed with Yah as a witness. Because he's the witness because you made a vow. What is a vow? Something that comes out of your mouth. That's why he said you got to keep your word. Let your word be your bond. Power of life and death is in the tongue. And we're supposed to be married till death. Let no one tear it asunder what the Most High has brought together. What is unity? That's when man and woman become one flesh. Just as we've seen in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24 and Sirach chapter 36 verse 24 and 26.
He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. Who will trust a thief well appointed, that skippeth from city to city? So who will believe a man that hath no house, and lodgeth wheresoever the night taketh him?
So he that getteth a wife getteth a possession, like unto himself, a pillar of rest. Where there no hedge is, that's protection. A hedge is protection. There the possession is spoiled, rotten. It rotted away. It wasn't taken care of. So the wife wasn't taken care of. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. Men need a wife. Who will trust a thief well appointed that skippeth from city to city? You can't trust a wife who's going to just keep moving back and forth because she relies on the government and she can walk away from her marriage. Not even her dad is holding her accountable. She doesn't even feel like she needs to be held accountable because she doesn't have to go to her dad. She can go to the government. But if we kept it in-house in family, she would feel more shameful about just walking away from her marriage because she had that close bond with her father and her family to know that she's supposed to stick and stand on business. A man is supposed to have a dwelling. You're supposed to have somewhere for shelter for you to bring your woman. Because when we look at the Hebrew of wife, it just means woman. So in woman's natural form, she was created to be a wife. That's why it's so simple. But now, in modern time, we have everything messed up where we think we can choose to be something outside of the Most High's creation. And that's what we got to fix. Why not state-controlled marriage? Why not? Government contracts redefine the Most High's covenant. Remember what I spoke about before? Allowing divorce for any cause. Look at Matthew 19, 3-9.
Some Pharisees came to him and tried to trap him by asking, "Does our law allow a man to divorce his wife for whatever reason he wishes?" Jesus answered, "Haven't you read the scripture that says that in the beginning, the Creator made people male and female? And God said, 'For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and unite with his wife, and the two will become one.' So they are no longer two, but one. No human being must separate, then, what God has joined together." The Pharisees asked him, "Why then did Moses give the law for a man to hand his wife a divorce notice and send her away?" Jesus answered, "Moses gave you permission to divorce your wives because you are so hard to teach, but it was not like that at the time of creation. I tell you then, that any man who divorces his wife for any cause other than her unfaithfulness commits adultery if he marries some other woman."
The state is secular authority. Just like, remember what the church would say, don't listen to no secular music? The state is secular authority. You cannot trust it. Of course, it has some legislation that is righteous, but again, they mix in a little bit of truth, a little bit of righteousness with a bunch of lies, with a bunch of wickedness and deceit and uncleanness. We have to be aware of this, and we have to stay clear of it. Then you have the Most High Yahweh, which is eternal authority. His authority comes before any state government, anything. To put the state before a covenant that he incorporated, that would be a foolish thing. And that's why we see the divorce rate, because we're not resorting to the Most High and family to hold us accountable. We're resorting to the government, and then we disregard what the Most High's word says, and then we ignore what family says. So that's why you don't see any shame around anymore, and people call it bullying. People are respecters of persons more than they are respecters of the word. And we got to fix this. Believers are warned. I don't give a damn if you calling yourself a Christian, a Hebrew, a believer, a follower of the way, whatever you want to call yourself. When we go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14.
Warning against pagan influences. Do not try to work together as equals with unbelievers, for it cannot be done. How can right and wrong be partners? How can light and darkness live together?
This is what this is saying. That includes yoking your marriage covenant to the worldly systems. Doesn't the scripture say, "Come out of her, my people"? So why would he want you to come out of her, have an agreement, contract with the place that he's telling you to come out of? It's not making sense. It's hypocrisy. And we got to fix it. How do we fix it? By actually following the word. So this is not a cut down on the sister. This is a chance to build us up and actually follow the word and not the world. Because we have to leave the bullshit alone and pick up the real. Stop eating all the man-made stuff, okay, and get back to his natural creation, which he grew and had for us to eat and to consume, which is doctrine that I'm talking about, information, education. We need to receive it from here. I'm not saying that I'm totally right on everything, but y'all gonna have to prove me wrong from what the word says. Let's look at correcting the understanding of Romans 13. So Romans 13 is to obey rulers in civil matters, such as paying taxes and keeping the peace. Remember when the Messiah said, render unto Caesar's what's Caesar's? So pay your taxes. I know we all fall short somewhere with paying taxes and whatnot, but hey, just get them out of your business. The whole point is to pay them to get them out of your business, not put them in your personal business. No, let them deal with the financial stuff. That's it. And keep the peace. That's why they have police to police your area to make sure that you're safe. Stop signs and stoplights. These are all government systems to keep the peace, keep you safe. Let's just stay there. It does not replace the Most High Yahweh's covenant law. So we have to get out of that mindset and really step back into what's real. Acts chapter 5 and verse 29.
Peter and the other apostles answered, "We must obey God, not men."
And it says, we must obey Yah, the Most High, rather than men. Why would I go to men with something that the Most High created for us and let that man govern me over that? That doesn't make sense. Marriage is the Most High's ordinance. It's not Caesar's. So I won't render what the Most High made for me, that he gave the ordinance over to the government, so they can now have order over me and my marriage. That does not make sense. So let's summarize this whole thing up. Marriage in the scriptures is man, woman, the father of the woman's consent, and a vow before the Most High Yahweh. That's marriage. That's how you get married. There's no biblical record of marriage through kings, states, or city officials of any kind. None. This is why when you see the example of the Messiah and his mother and they're at the wedding feast, why didn't it mention the ceremony? Because the ceremony is intimate between the man, the woman, and her father, or the intimacy of the families. Maybe 10, 20 people just having a feast. When you go back and you go look at Laban, when he marries off Rachel and Leah over to Jacob and the handmaids, he has a feast for them. When you look at the book of Tobit, when we looked at LiQWYD, he had a feast. It was an intimate dinner. And by the way, back then, those marriages, which should still be today, they should last days. So that way family can come by, even if they can't make it, they can come on by and get to know each of you on a more personal level, rather than trying to squeeze all this meeting time in a couple hours in one day. We got to get some understanding. Romans 13 is civil peace. That's what it's about. It's about civil peace, not covenant law. Well, look it up. Go read it slowly. Read it in different translations. It's not what you're thinking it is. Our marriages are sacred covenants under the Most High, not licenses from the government. They're not. It has nothing to do with the government. It has everything to do with the Most High, because he's the one that told us to be fruitful and multiply. He's the one that told us that we have to raise our families according to his word. Because if that's the case, then we might as well put the Bible down and raise your family according to what? The government. Because you want them to follow that, because that was how you said that we have to start off our marriage, was by going to them instead of going to the Most High. So we can't mix and mingle the two. So these are the key verses here that y'all can go back and go reference to understand what exactly it is that we need to really understand moving forward, and how Romans 13 and marriage really don't go together, and how the falsehood of what we were taught as far as, hey, you got to go to the court, you got to get married by the state. This is why a lot of women won't consider marrying a biblical man who's following real biblical principles and standing on biblical understanding. She won't accept being married because she wants the paper and the ring and this whole theatrical performance, when really it's supposed to be intimate. Really it's supposed to mean something. Your word's supposed to mean something. And that's the problem. Today's women and men, your word don't mean nothing. And you think it's supposed to be a certain way of what you were told, and what you were told is that you got to go to the courts. And that's false. We're going to move on along. We're going to jump over to part 2 of session 1. So now we're looking at spiritual versus carnal, and covenant versus contract within the scope of marriage. Remember, I told you I would break these things down for you, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's look at spiritual versus carnal in the marriage. So spiritual, meaning what the Most High has anointed, and carnal, meaning your fleshly desires and wants and what you've been fed from the world. Spiritual is attached to the Hebrew word ruach, meaning breath, spirit, life force, that which comes from the Most High. That's simple. So in a marriage, a union led by the Most High Yahweh's Spirit, which is centered on His word, not the government, not the state, not that shit, but rather His word on purpose and holiness. Holy means to be separate. So for it to be connected to holiness means that it needs to be separate from the system that goes against it. Where there's a little bit of leaven, leaven's a whole lump. And the government, when it comes to marriages, what do they allow? I'll wait. That's right. It goes against the Most High's word, His law. They allow abominable marriages to happen. So what scriptures are we going to touch on? Same thing we touched on before. Genesis chapter 2, verses 22 to 24.
He formed a woman out of the rib and brought her to him. Then the man said, At last, here is one of my own kind, bone taken from my bone, and flesh from my flesh. Woman is her name, because she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother, and is united with his wife, and they become one.
The Most High Yah joins the man and woman as one flesh. This is the first marriage. Romans chapter 8 and verse 6.
To be controlled by human nature results in death. To be controlled by the Spirit results in life and peace.
It says to be spiritually minded is life and peace. We need to be spiritually minded to receive life and peace. Let's jump over to Malachi 2 and 15.
Didn't God make you one body and spirit with her? What was His purpose in this? It was that you should have children who are truly God's people. So make sure that none of you breaks His promise to His wife.
The Most High seeks a godly seed through marriage. What we just touched on was all spiritual. This lets us know marriage is spiritual. A covenant with the Most High, at the center of that covenant, is designed for holiness, separating away from the world, not attaching it to the world, unity and eternal purpose, because it's supposed to be death do you part, right? That's scriptural. Women are actually supposed to be connected with their husbands up until he dies. And when he dies, then she is free to move along. Not able to go to the court system and make up any kind of reason, oh, I'm unhappy, I just fell out of love, and now I want to do this, that, and the third. You know, men, oh man, she just ain't doing, I'm saying, little stuff around the house, man, it just pissing me off. That ain't no reason. Oh yeah, she got fat. Get her in the gym. Did you motivate her to get in the gym? Eating right? These are the things we got to look at. Next, we're going to look at carnal, which is basar in Hebrew, meaning flesh, body, human weakness, driven by appetite. So in marriage, a union based on lust or convenience or worldly systems rather than the Most High Spirit. You want to go to the worldly system such as the government or the state to get certified in your marriage because you're thinking fleshfully. You're not thinking eternally through the Spirit. Oh, well, I need to make sure I'm secure in case something happens. Well, if your word was your bond and your man's word was his bond, you guys are going to make sure that you guys are doing whatever you need to make sure you guys are good under the Most High. Oh, well, how do we secure that? You build together. You put the work in together and you make it happen. Women, you must understand that the money you work for is not yours. It's for the family. Just like you expect that man, what he works for, is supposed to be for the family. We're going to Genesis chapter 6 and verse 3.
And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
The key point is man is flesh. Basar. Then we're going to Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 to 21.
Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revellings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
Works of the flesh destroy relationships. You can see all of these characteristics destroying the relationship because it's not standing on a vow that is connected to a spiritual covenant. You're focusing on a contract, on a business arrangement. This is why most women speak about partners. I want a partner. That's a business arrangement. Marriage is not a business. It's a spiritual covenant transaction that is linked by a vow to the Most High. Let's go to Sirach 25-21.
Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure.
This is a warning against choosing marriage for beauty alone. The problem is, everything that glitters isn't gold. Most of the beautiful women are crazy. Most of the handsome men are struggling with some type of insecurity, or they're arrogant, evil, wicked men, evil, wicked women. And even in those situations, you go into the marriage wanting a prenup. You want to figure out how to be protected while not even thinking about the man or the woman. You're not even thinking about your spouse at all. You don't even care. You're just worried about yourself. In the scriptures, in the spiritual, push a covenant that we in this together eternally. But this marriage, as carnal or fleshly, is partnership without the Most High Spirit. Notice how I put that in there. Partnership without the Most High Spirit. You want a partnership? That's business. You want a covenant where there's order and you know your roles. Man leads, woman follows. Submission, man submits to the word. That's with the Most High Spirit, because that's what his word says to do. But in the marriage as a carnal, you're often selfish, unstable, and it's temporary. Oh, it's a red flag. Oh, that's a red flag. Oh, that's not given. Oh man, she do this one thing, man. I don't know, man. I ain't finna do it. But meanwhile, y'all done laid with each other. Y'all done had children with each other. So what are you teaching the next generation? That even though you went through the court system to certify your marriage, it ain't mean shit. It ain't mean a damn thing. Ain't that a shame? Now we're going to check out covenant versus contract in the marriage. So the covenant is a beret, meaning to cut an agreement sealed with blood or oath by the Most High. A oath, which is said with your mouth. You got some ancient cultures, not Hebrew, but just to give you the context, you got some cultures that when y'all married, y'all, did a schlicht and y'all put the blood together to bring in the families. Now we know that that's not what we do here, because the covenant of the Most High is through a bloodline. The Most High's word and who he chose to be that bloodline. But nonetheless, a covenant is linked to an oath, which is said with your mouth. Agreed upon thing, your word is your bond. So in marriage, a covenant in marriage is a sacred vow before the Most High, binding a man and a woman under his witness, under his gaze. Meaning y'all done prayed it in together, y'all done sat around and communed and broke bread and came to an understanding that we're doing this under the Most High and we're going to raise our family up under the Most High. The scriptures to check out. I know we've been through there, but we got to go back to get it imprinted in your brain. Malachi chapter 2 and 14.
Yet ye say, Wherefore? Because the Lord hath been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Yet is she thy companion, and the wife of thy covenant?
Marriage is called the wife of your covenant. Not contract, not a state, not what it's called. Marriage is called the wife of your covenant. In Tobit, chapter 7, verses 13 and 14.
Then he called his daughter Sarah, And she came to her father, and he took her by the hand, and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, Behold, take her after the law of Moses, and lead her away to thy father. And he blessed them, and called Edna his wife, and took paper, and did write an instrument of covenants, and sealed it.
A marriage covenant written and confirmed before the Most High, not the state. There is no state legislator ordained because somebody said, yes, he works for the government of the state, so he can validate this and get censorship on this. It's not there. Matthew 19:6.
So they are no longer two, but one. No human being must separate, then, what God has joined together.
What Yahweh, the Most High, has joined together, let no man put asunder. Remember what it said in Genesis chapter 6:3. Man is flesh. So don't let your fleshly lust get in the way. Your selfishness get in the way. So marriage as a covenant is eternal. It goes on forever until that man is gone. Spiritual, which means it's following by the word of the Most High, being breathed through the Ruach, the Spirit of the Most High. It's divinely witnessed because you're following his word. He's listening to it. Why? Because he does not listen to the prayers through the vows of those that do wickedness and sin. He's not listening. He's not a witness there. He says if you forsake him, he will forsake you. But if we stick into his word, he's going to stick with you. Unbreakable except by death. This is what I was talking about in Romans chapter 7 and verse 2. Now let's jump over to the contract. That is shatar, which is a later Hebrew usage, meaning a human document of obligation. In modern terms, a legal civil agreement. So a contract in marriage would be state or government license or certificate or paper agreement regulating benefits, taxes, and rights. So when the sister said that you need to go here for this, is because now you're making a business transaction with the state, government, or city that you're in. That's why whenever you want to go do a divorce, they start talking about finances, how you're going to split. When you start doing taxes, are you married? Because it's not about the marriage, it's about the business. That's why you get benefits, financial benefits, when you marry through the state. And that's what a lot of women are looking for, the benefits, because they're not in it spiritually. They're not in it for a covenant. They're in it for a contract. They're not in it to be in unity as one flesh. They're in it for a partnership, for a check. So here are the problems. For one, it's man-made, and it's not ordained by the Most High. As you can clearly see what she said, it don't even got to be a believer that's going to marry you. You just got to go through the state because that's what he said. Again, out of context. It can be dissolved by courts because it's a court document now. It's not under the Most High. It's contrary to the Most High's eternal covenant, which he ordains that authority through the man. The man can only disannul this through a bill of divorcement. And the Messiah lets us know, hey, men, you got to tighten up. You can't just be letting your woman go and divorcing her just for anything. You got to stick that out. Stick to your word. Stick to the agreement. Stick to the spiritual covenant, not the contract. Marriage as a contract is a no-go. It's a carnal, fleshly legal agreement, which is temporary and subject to human law, not the Most High Spirit being there to give discernment and help you out with some things. It's not what it's in there for. You can recognize the difference. Let's start putting it together. Marriage in Scripture. Well, marriage is spiritual. It's not carnal. The origin of marriage is based out of the spiritual being of the Most High. It would never turn into a fleshly carnal thing because it wasn't created by a fleshly carnal thing. It's rooted in Ruach, spirit, not basar, which is flesh. It's designed for holiness, separateness from all the other stuff in the world, all the other fake girlfriend, boyfriend relationships, fake fiance situationships, and all of that. It's supposed to be separate, not fleshly lust. That's what's holding us back. It's holding us back because we are not standing on business. We're actually going against it. We actually are standing up for business and not spiritual efforts in a covenant. Marriage is covenant, not a contract. So it's duty based, not business based. It's ain't a partnership. You do your role, I do my role. We do it together as one. A berit before Yahweh. A covenant before Yahweh. Not paperwork with Caesar. You render what Caesar's because what Caesar's is taxes, things pertaining to your business to operate in this land. Guess what? Your marriage is not this land's business. Look at the laws of this land. Look how they got this land based off of those same laws. They took it from us. That's how you would think if you believe in the natives and all of that. Or they didn't treat us right in how they treated us when we got here. And that was all okay under those same laws that you want to put your marriage tied into. It's governed by Torah, by his law. And Yahushua's teaching, the Messiah's teaching, not man's courts. You don't find the court system anywhere in here. But yet and still, we got this rhetoric being pushed out here that this is what this is supposed to look like. And this is killing our people. So the key classroom verses right here. Genesis 2:24, one flesh. It's about duty. Man and woman performing their duties as one flesh. Well, femininity ain't got nothing to do with his masculinity. His masculinity ain't got nothing to do with your femininity. You be feminine at all times. He be masculine at all times. Malachi 2:14, covenant of marriage. The Most High is the witness to it because he the one created it back in Genesis 2. Matthew 19:6, not man, but the Most High Yahweh joins it together, not by a city, state, government issue type of situation. Romans 7:2, it's bound until death, till death do us part. Sister, you just can't leave because you unhappy. You agreed to be with that man. So if you mad at anybody, be mad at yourself. Brother, you tied to her. You agreed. Keep your word. Yes, we should start shaming each other for dipping out on stuff. I was there. I've been there. I didn't want to do it. Hey, but I ended up doing it. I should be shamed for that. This is the point of following his word. Tobit, chapter 7 and verse 13 through 14. This is an example of covenant vows between the father, the man, family. It being rolled out through family. This is the agreement through family. Handshakes, love, food, intimate setting. That was the actual ceremony. That was the agreement time. You go back to the Messiah with him and his mother. They were at the feast because now it's letting everybody know that yes, we have a covenant. Acts 5:29. Obey the Most High rather than men. The Most High never told you to go to the government, to go to man to get it done. He said go to the father of the woman to get it done. And give thanks and praise and give your oath and vow to me that y'all finna stick this thing through. So here's a summary for y'all. First off, go back and check everything that I said. Go read it. A spiritual marriage is a covenant, berit, sealed by the Most High. That's one. A carnal marriage is a contract governed by man. That's two. The chosen people are called to the spiritual covenant of marriage, not the carnal contracts of the nations. This is something that's deep. So whether you consider yourself to be an Israelite, a Christian, a believer, a follower of Christ, whoever and whatever system of way of thinking that you feel, you need to get back to the spiritual side of what the word is saying, rather than what somebody has led you to believe that's actually going away from the word. And it contradicts the word. And you are now following contracts that don't belong to you. So y'all leave a comment down in the comments and let me know what you think after you went and read and did your own research on these things. Because it only makes sense. With all that being said, I hope you got fed. Water for tuning in with Neighborhood Hebrews. Shalom, shalom. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and share this thing on to your people so we can start getting our people back in union and unity, equally yoked under the Most High, rather than living on a lie. We got Scripture Sundays at night. That's right. Topic is, who are the mixed multitude that came out of Egypt? That'll be this coming Sunday night. Y'all make sure y'all tap in because we in the midst of tabernacles. But this is just a side class. Get you on the move. We got Zoom Bible reading, the Zoom Bible study on Friday and Saturday nights at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to read, it's hosted by my brother, LiQWYD. Check us out. Check out his platform. Go like, follow, subscribe to his channel. Make sure you tap on in with us to get that link so you can join the Bible study. If y'all ever want to fellowship and tap in with me, I'm in Northern California. You can tap in with me on Mondays. This coming Monday will be the closing of the Feast of Tabernacles. So if you want to close it on out with me, let me know so I can set up something so we can link up together. Y'all should already know by now that we put stuff on together, me and my brother out here in Stockton. Make sure y'all come help us because we need you to come put your hands to the plow so we can make things happen for our people that's out here that are in need. If anything in these ministries do anything for your spirit, let the Most High hear it. If you feel moved to, go ahead and throw some alms, donations, anything like that over to the Cash Apps, $ Spoken Law. You'll see Darash Barak Yah. That's me for this ministry at the Neighborhood Hebrews. Or you can tap in with my brother, LiQWYD. His Cash App is Mark Norman Jr. over there for the 242 Ministries. I do graphics for $50 per design with unlimited revisions. The more designs that you add, it's just $20 more. So I give good deals and I got a fast turnaround time so you can get what you need more than likely within the same day or for sure within the week. We're going to get you all squared away. Y'all see what I'm rocking? 10 Commandment necklaces. Check them out. You can get 1 for 10, 2 for 15 for the single sided. Or if you want the double sided, you can get that 1 for 20 or 2 for 30.